Such a good boy. Such a good boy. Yeah, I love you even though you pooped in the garage.
Ah, my dick! Why? Why is it always my dick?
It's always his fucking dick. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a hot minute since I've made a video, but shit, it's 2019, it's a new year, new me. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent about putting these videos out. I've actually got a lot of ideas for some good ones coming up soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Let's just jump into it. So, you want to add some beef to your lows, to your gutturals, right? Tip number one, just get back to basics, man. You can see how my vocal style has changed quite a bit. Mostly, I think, starting around like the Infinite Annihilator cover that I did. A big part of that for me was reworking where my gutturals were coming from. I had spent a lot of time kind of smoothing out my tone, and a lot of the distortion and the resonance came from, more up here in the face area, more, in the upper throat, and I had a little bit more tension there than necessary. And I wanted to add a little bit more beef, a little bit more resonance and depth. And the way that I did that was, like I said, just getting back to basics. When you first learn false chord vocals, right, a lot of you probably learned it by doing that exacerbated sigh, with, like, say your parents told you to go clean your room when you were younger or something, and you don't really want to, so you're like, you should practice doing that, but feel the resonance as low as you can, right? Get that gurgle as far down here, in your lower throat, almost in your chest as possible. So just a disclaimer, you're gonna sound pretty dumb actually doing this for quite a while, but that's okay, right? To be successful, you've got to fail a buttload of times, and it's okay. You're reworking your style. It's for it's for the best in the long run. So what you want to do is just get relaxed, sit up straight, take a deep breath, and relax your throat as much as you can. Relax, and just let the air pass over your vocals as you're doing that sigh, and just going right? And you just want to feel it as low as you can down here. You can also experiment with your tongue position. I typically put mine to the roof of my mouth and back far. What you're gonna notice is that the more you want to push your vocals, to the extreme, to get better tones, the more your throat is going to tense up and kind of, close a little bit. And that's counterintuitive to what you want, right? Relax. Just like I play drums, right? And the faster you want to play, the more your arm starts to tense up, and it's actually not helping you. It's not doing you any favors when you're trying to play faster, right? Because you have more tension here. So it's more of a balancing act, right? You've got to work to relax while you're trying to do more extreme stuff. It's not intuitive. It's kind of difficult, but trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. Just keep working on that that sound. Give yourself some diaphragmatic support. There's tons of videos on YouTube about how to use your diaphragm. I'm sure you already know, but just get back to basics, work on your low false chord, and that should do it. Now, I also got some questions about how I did a certain vocal in my Infinite Annihilator cover. I think it's around like 35 seconds. And I achieved that sound in kind of a roundabout way. I made a video a while back, I'll probably actually need to redo it, to be honest, about polyphonic vocals. Not exactly sure how polyphonic they really are. But I achieved that sound by putting a lot of, or at least sending a lot of air up into my nose, right? This is actually how I smooth out a lot of my distortion when it comes to especially the low end, and I'll show you what I mean. So most of you, and myself included, spent most of my time sending all of my air, all my airflow out my mouth when I'm doing vocals. And you can actually, there's a lot of other stuff that you can do. The way I described it, and probably still the best way I can, at least give you that, an idea of what that feeling is like, is almost pretend like you're trying to scream with your mouth closed, or like you're like snoring in a way. And you should feel most of the tension kind of up here in your nasal cavity. It should sound kind of like that. What you're going to want to do is combine the nasal tone with your guttural tone, the resonance and the distortion that's coming from down here. It takes a lot of practice, and it doesn't come naturally. It took a long time for me to figure out how to do it. It actually happened by accident, doing that recording. So just quick disclaimer, make sure that when you're practicing your nasal tone stuff that you also practice just the false chord stuff coming out your mouth. A problem that I've been dealing with is, I've got that muscle memory now of how to send air through my nose, and it's kind of difficult to not do that, right? So you don't want to be limited in that way. So make sure that if you're practicing your nasal stuff, also practice just sending air out your mouth too. So anyway, here's a vocal with just the air coming out the mouth, and then I'll transition into something with a little bit more nasal tone, and I'll try to keep the pitch the same so you can kind of hear the difference. Sounds totally different, right? And you kind of get this weird voicey quality, and it almost sounds lower in pitch despite the fact that you're really got the same amount of tension here in your throat. I combined that in the Infinite Annihilator cover with just a tongue position, your typical toilet bowl sound, where your tongue is against the your top teeth in the back, or at least right here, like that. And it really just arose out of the fact that I can't really do pig squeals, and so I just said fuck it, and I'll just try to get the toilet bowliest sound, and I'll just send a ton of air through my nose, and it kind of came out like So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Just get back to your fundamentals, work on just going like that, and feeling your resonance as far down as possible and keeping your airway as open as possible. And if you need a little bit smoother distortion, try using your nasal tones. Yeah, that's what I do at least. So thank you guys for sticking around. Looking forward to doing a lot of great content this year. I think it's going to be a little bit different than what you might be used to on a lot of metal vocal channels. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next one. Sup, turds? Christian from the future here. A couple things I forgot to mention. These are just things that have worked for me. If something different has worked for you, please post it down in the comments. There's a lot of people out there looking for help, and a different perspective is always welcome. I also briefly mentioned polyphonic vocals. If you want to learn more about that stuff, or at least hear how it really sounds, go check out Feast of the Antipathy. Their vocalist, Derek Connolly, is an absolute monster, and I'll actually see if I can't maybe get him on the channel sometime to talk about that, because I feel like polyphonic vocals really don't get enough love. And yeah, that's it, dudes. Love you. Stay golden. Peace.